What is your sexual identity? So I identify as gay, pretty much on the far gay side of the Kinsey scale. Gender identity, I identify as a male. And then faith identity, I used to identify as Christian, but I just don't identify, I guess, with anything. I guess my faith would be agnostic.
I identify as bisexual. What is your gender identity? I identify as female. What is your faith identity? I identify as Christian.
I'm a lesbian, and my gender identity is female, and I don't really have a faith identity. I believe some things, but I don't identify with a certain religion.
I was born a female. I identify as a straight male. My faith as it stands right now, I am religious. I have my own faith.
I identify as a lesbian, a female lesbian, and also a Baptist.
What was the faith identity of your household? We grew up very Christian. My brother and sister went to private Christian school. We did daily devotions in the morning and church every Sunday, the whole shebang.
I would say that my household identity faith is Christian. It's like Protestant, non-denominational Christian. And I would say that the rest of my family still holds to that.
I grew up in a really religious household. My parents are Christian and have been in the faith since I was born. The moment I was born, I think they waited like a whole 3 days to get me baptized.
When did you realize you were bisexual? In middle school, I started picking up on it. The girls that I was friends with started liking guys and talking to guys and getting boyfriends, and I just couldn't picture myself being happy with a guy at the moment.
I mean, I've known since I was a kid, but I didn't have the language for it. You know, like when you're in second grade or something, you don't know really what gay is. And then I was first exposed to porn when I was in junior high, and I knew what gay was then, and never really came to terms with it, but I was pretty sure, like, I knew what I liked.
I realized I thought I might like girls when I was 15, because when I had that first feeling, I don't even think I knew what a lesbian was. So yeah, that was the beginning of my journey.
I would say that from a very young age, I knew I was different. But growing up in a religious household environment, like I went to private school, I was only around certain type of people, and my parents made sure of that.
Realized for sure when I was a senior, though, I never really wanted to go to dances with all the guys. I was like, let's go with my girlfriends, because that's more fun. Yeah. I went to a couple parties, realized that I only wanted to kiss the females there. That was a good sign. It was kind of a big realization, though, because I knew that I could never really come out. My family was always really against it.
How, if at all, did this realization affect you? I guess at first it was difficult, especially because I was so religious. And so being really religious, it wasn't necessarily hard to come to terms with, but I didn't know what to do with it, so I just didn't really do anything about it for a while. Before I was out, it caused a lot of guilt, and so if I did do stuff, either I didn't experiment, or if I did, I felt really guilty, to the point where I would like shake or cry, or it was really unhealthy.
It affected me very negatively. I completely shut down and closed myself off from the world around me. I felt that I wasn't the daughter that my family wanted.
I was scared at first, then it turned to shame, then it turned to just lack of confidence in this part of me, this part of my identity.
I went through a lot of self-hate. I went through a big time in my life where I didn't think I was worth anything. That because I was different, because I was not like every person who surrounded me at the school I was in, at the church I was in, I felt like I didn't belong in this world.
What was the conversation surrounding sexuality like in your household prior to coming out? We didn't really talk much about sexuality at all, but the things I do remember as the most poignant, I remember one instance when my dad was driving my sister and I to school, and it was just like a really random conversation that came up. My dad looked at my sister and said, you know, if you were a lesbian, I'd be okay with that. And then he looked at me and said, but if you were gay, I don't think I would be able to handle it.
There was no conversation. It was a guy and a girl, a man and wife. That was it. I remember one time walking with my mom. We saw a gay couple walk by, and my mom's response was ew. That stuck with me.
It's extremely negative. I just remember countless times conversations with my parents or just comments about homosexuality. Those people have demons inside them. They need, like, they're possessed, like gay people are possessed. I just remember blatantly being told that before my parents had any idea.
My parents do not care if someone's gay, but to have their child like women and be transgender was like over the top for them. I remember when gay marriage was just starting to be talked about. And so I just remember my dad yelling at the screen and goes, "Those fucking faggots don't deserve to get married." And it stuck with me.
I remember this one time my parents saw this lesbian scene on a TV movie, and my dad immediately went, "Oh, gross, we have to change this." And so I knew at that moment I was like extremely offended by that, even though I hadn't even come out yet.
It was okay, it wasn't bad. Just some of the things my mom said were not really what you want to hear. And then found out a couple days later that she had talked to my dad, and then didn't have a conversation with my dad until 10 months later. He knew that I had a girlfriend and that I was gay, lesbian, liked girls for 10 months until he finally reached out to me and wanted to talk about it. That conversation was actually really positive with my dad. It was kind of just an agree to disagree.
It's like my dad wouldn't talk to me for months after. Like, this person that I was to him was gone. And to have your own parents just cut you out because of something you've been your whole life, it was terrible. And knowing that I had to tell them again that I was trans, and this time my own doing, I almost lost them once. And to be happy I had to tell them something else again and risk losing them again. When I had to tell him, I just wrote him a letter and said, "Look, I know you wanted a baby girl, but I'm not gonna live my life in a lie to make sure that your dreams came true." And I know I broke his heart, and he reminds me very often that I did. When you come out as trans, there is a dead period with your loved ones where this person that they knew you as is dead to them. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to go about it. They mourn your death while you are right in front of them.
When I came out first, my parents were really distraught because they basically thought it was a death sentence to being with me for eternity. My dad, he was saying how he wouldn't support me monetarily until I kind of went back to being straight or whatever the hell he wanted. Knowing that they didn't care, well, they did, but that they seemed like they didn't care how I was or if I felt loved. That was really hurtful. They wanted me to immediately put a halt to it, which I didn't. I tried to, and it didn't work out. Yeah, so they were just more nervous about seeing me later after we're all dead. We all kick it. Yeah.
Do you attend church? Yeah, I used to attend church all the time. Even freshman year, I was a teacher for kindergarten class, so they were super cute, and it was really fun to do Bible stories with them. But in sophomore year, I went to church every week with my friend Marguerite. And the end of sophomore year is when I really came out as gay, saying I wasn't going to closet myself anymore, be celibate. So it kind of dwindled off just because it became a lot harder um, to navigate those spaces together. And then since coming out, there's so many teachings that are used, not necessarily that are, but are used to oppress gay people.
Yes, I did attend church. I was very active in the church. I don't attend as much as I would like to at the moment. I do feel kind of unwanted at church, not from the church, but from myself. It's a lie I tell myself.
It was my faith that was telling me, run away, this is terrible, no, no, no. And now I don't identify with the faith, so I guess that's a full 180. I would say that my sexuality played a role in that, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm gay, so now I'm not a Christian.
I don't know. Gay people aren't really out in church, and so it's hard to really feel comfortable when you and your girlfriend go into a church and you kind of feel like the outliers there. You see all the other couples like holding hands while they listen to a gospel music, and I still like feel so uncomfortable with that, but it's a work in progress. I remember like night after night I would watch these like talks on pastors saying if it was right or wrong to be gay and all this stuff, and like it was all very confusing. I still don't know if I'm gonna go to heaven, and that's terrifying.
Once I came out as trans, I did go on a mission trip with my church to Haiti. There was a lot of people who were like, why does this person that does not represent our church going to Haiti? Why are they chosen? Like, why shouldn't I go when this person doesn't represent our faith? And I just have a lot of strong people in my church that grew up with me that it was like, look, Riley deserves this. Riley is a strong person. Riley is a man of faith. And because I have those people in my life is the reasons that I stuck with my faith.
Tell me about your relationship with your family currently. Thanks for this one. Thanks for this question. I didn't expect them to be okay with it. I'm not expecting them to be okay with it. I'm just expecting them to accept me for who I am. And that's what they're doing.
Whenever they are together, my parents, they do navigate straight back to my birth name and my birth gender. I have a very good family support system who tries, and I will probably be 40 still going by he, she, he. My grandma was one of my biggest supports, and she basically was like, look, your parents may not understand, your family may not understand, and they may be mean to you, they may not accept you, but guess what? Doesn't fucking matter. They can go fuck themselves, and it will all be okay. And that is just, I couldn't ask for anything better than my 70-year-old grandma to flat out just say, look, you have one life, live it. And that's what I'm trying to do.
When my parents realized that they were losing me, they didn't want to lose me completely. They really apologized to me, and they were like, we get what you're doing, and we feel like we're losing our only daughter. And so they wrap me with their love.
I'm so happy, and I'm so confident in who I am as a person. And my sexual identity is a huge part of that. And it's a huge part of my life, and I feel like I don't get to share that with my family, and it's sad. It's really sad. I get that they have their beliefs, and those might never change. And they can say that, Rachel, I love you, it's okay, but you don't love me 100% if you do not love me for who I am 100%.
Still working through things with my parents. I mean, they're really supportive and they love me a lot, and I don't ever question that. But it's different to think of the future they wanted for me is never going to happen. They didn't realize the things that they were saying were homophobic, especially during this past election. But I talk to them still, and like I know they love me and have good intentions. We just have different politics, um, which can get personal, especially when like being a queer person is inherently political because it's in opposition to what's normal.
Right now, I'm not in the strongest part in my faith, you could say. I've kind of distanced myself a lot because I don't know exactly what it looks like to be a Christian and also like the same sex.
Um, I can't say it pisses me off every single day, though, knowing that the people who I once thought were like my closest friends, my biggest supporters, was my church family, and that now a lot of them don't like me as much. They see me as a different person. I haven't really found the perfect way to go about it yet. Like 2 years later, I still have no idea what is like right or wrong with a gay relationship and my faith. I'll let you know if I find out because I have not figured it out yet.
I honestly think it's made it more expansive. I think that I had a really small image of who God was. If there is such a thing, that's also something that has changed. It's a lot more contingent. And it's not as narrow, I guess, as it used to be in certain ways, or at least as founded. Like, I've gained a lot of brothers and sisters through coming out because of the shared experience. So, almost like a faith community. It's very personal and really communal to me. So, I just love seeing happy queer people thriving and flourishing.